The fruit in your kitchen that you think is healthy might be quietly making you feel tired, achy, or foggy, especially after 60. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, clinician scientist, and I've spent decades working with older adults and looking at peer-reviewed research on nutrition and aging. What I'm about to say is grounded in both published science and real patient outcomes. In plain terms, as our bodies change with age, some fruits that were harmless or even helpful when we were younger can start to cause problems. Today, I'll show you 4 fruits I recommend seniors avoid or limit as a daily habit. And, when we continue, 4 better choices to add to your plate. If you're over 60 or care for someone who is, please like and subscribe for research-backed senior health tips. I'll be direct. This is not about blame. It's about understanding how aging changes the way our bodies handle sugar, acid, enzymes and residues, so we can make small swaps that protect energy, digestion, heart health, teeth, and even thinking. Let's start with the 4 fruits that commonly cause trouble for older adults, how they work, the symptoms you might notice, why medications and residues matter, and practical rules to reduce harm. Worst fruit number 1, grapes. The innocent snack that can spike your blood sugar. Grapes feel like a healthy snack. They're sweet, portable, and many people reach for a handful without thinking. But for older adults, they can be a stealthy source of quick sugar. Grapes are small, low in fiber on a per-bite basis, and the sugar they contain is absorbed rapidly. When insulin sensitivity declines with age, which is common, those sugars turn into a sudden blood sugar rise, followed by a mid-afternoon crash. Clinically, I see this as fatigue, lightheadedness, or brain fog a couple of hours after snacking. Mechanism in plain language. Think of grapes as little sugar bombs. Because each grape is mostly water and sugar with thin skin, the sugars hit your bloodstream fast. If your cells aren't responding to insulin as efficiently anymore, that rapid rise and fall becomes more pronounced. Common symptoms you might notice. You feel tired after a few grapes, you get shaky or lightheaded mid-afternoon, or your concentration dips after a snack. Sometimes people assume they just need coffee, but the real trigger was the quick sugar. Medication and pesticide caveats. Grapes often show up high on lists of produce with pesticide residue. Washing helps, but it doesn't remove everything. If you're on multiple medications, especially those metabolized by the liver, any additional chemical exposure matters because aging can reduce the body's ability to clear toxins. I always tell patients, washing and choosing organic when possible can lower exposure, but it's not a perfect shield. Practical mitigation rules. Limit your portion. About 10-12 grapes is a reasonable serving size for many older adults. Don't eat them alone on an empty stomach. Pair those grapes with protein or healthy fat, a small handful of almonds, a tablespoon of peanut butter or a slice of cheese, which slows sugar absorption and blunts the spike. If you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, discuss portion size and timing with your clinician. Consider measuring your blood sugar after trying a change so you and your clinician can make an informed plan. A short vignette. Mrs. Harris, a retired teacher, told me she always kept a bowl of grapes on the coffee table. She'd nibble between chores and then feel wiped out around 3 p.m. She thought it was age. After we tried a simple swap, 10 grapes with a tablespoon of almond butter, she reported steadier energy and no more sudden crashes. Small change, big difference. Mini hook before the next. Grapes are innocent looking, but their speed matters. Now let's talk about a fruit that can sting in more ways than one. Worst fruit number 2. Pineapple. Helpful when young, harsh when older. Pineapple contains bromelain, an enzyme that breaks down proteins and can help tenderize meat or soothe some inflammatory conditions in younger, healthier digestive systems. But bromelain, together with pineapple's acidity, can irritate a lining that becomes thinner and more sensitive with age. Older adults often have slower mucosal healing and in some cases take medications that magnify bleeding risk or interact with enzymes. Mechanism in plain language. Bromelain is a protein-dissolving enzyme. In a young, resilient gut, it's often harmless or even helpful. In an older gut with thinning mucosa or existing reflux, that same enzyme and the fruit's acid can worsen heartburn, make mouth and stomach irritation more likely, and sometimes aggravate ulcers or esophageal sensitivity. Symptoms to watch for: worsened reflux or heartburn after eating pineapple, a burning feeling in the mouth or throat, or in more sensitive people, stomach discomfort after fresh pineapple. People who notice more belching, chest discomfort that's not cardiac, or new-onset acid reflux after pineapple should consider the fruit a likely trigger. Medication cautions. Pineapple's components can interact with certain drugs, particularly blood thinners and some antibiotics, and can increase bleeding risk or alter drug levels in the bloodstream. I must be clear, don't stop any medication on your own. If you consume pineapple regularly and you take blood thinners or multiple prescriptions, speak with your doctor or pharmacist to see if timing or portions need adjustment. Practical mitigation rules. Don't eat pineapple on an empty stomach. Try small portions, maybe 3 to 4 chunks rather than a big wedge. If fresh pineapple causes irritation, cooked pineapple is often gentler because heat deactivates some of the bromelain. For people with known reflux, I generally advise avoiding pineapple as a daily habit. If you love it as an occasional treat, pair it with protein or fat, yogurt, cottage cheese, or a handful of nuts, and avoid it close to bedtime or together with medications that can interact. Clinical vignette. Mr. Lee, who had mild reflux controlled with medication, began having worse symptoms after a plate of fresh pineapple he'd been eating after lunch. After reducing fresh pineapple and switching to canned pineapple in juice, drained and mixed into plain yogurt, his reflux calmed. He still enjoys a piece now and then, but not every day. Mini hook before the next. Pineapple's enzyme helps tenderize, but in older bodies it can tenderize the wrong tissue. Next up, a citrus favorite that's kinder to the immune system, but harsh on teeth and medications. Worst fruit number 3. Oranges, vitamin C with a sting for teeth and some medicines. Oranges are famous for vitamin C, a nutrient many of us value. But for older adults, frequent citrus consumption can accelerate tooth enamel wear, increase sensitivity, and aggravate reflux. There's another important point. Citrus can interact with liver enzymes that process many medications, changing how long drugs stay active in your system. Mechanism in plain language. Citric acid lowers the pH in the mouth and stomach. Over time, acid exposure can weaken tooth enamel. On the medication front, compounds in some citrus, most famously grapefruit, but also certain orange varieties and juices, can alter liver enzymes involved in breaking down drugs. That can increase or decrease the level of medications like statins, calcium channel blockers, and others. Symptoms to notice: tooth sensitivity to cold or sweet foods, a new pattern of cavities on the front teeth, worsening heartburn after orange juice, or unexpected medication side effects such as muscle aches or dizziness that seem to coincide with a change in diet. Medication cautions. If you take drugs with narrow therapeutic windows, meaning the difference between an effective dose and a problematic dose is small, citrus could change how these medications behave. Consult your clinician or pharmacist. Do not stop your medicine. Practical mitigation rules. Limit frequency. Instead of a daily glass of orange juice, consider bell peppers, strawberries, or blueberries for vitamin C with less acidity. If you enjoy oranges, have them as part of a meal rather than first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and avoid brushing teeth immediately after citrus. Wait at least 30 minutes so enamel isn't brushed while softened. Rinse your mouth with water after citrus, and consider using a straw for juices to reduce direct contact with teeth. For those on multiple medications, check interactions with a pharmacist before making citrus a daily habit. Vignette: Mrs. Gomez came in complaining of sensitive teeth. She loved starting her day with a big glass of orange juice. After switching to a bell pepper smoothie and using a fluoride toothpaste, the sensitivity improved. She still has an orange occasionally, but not every morning. Mini hook before the next. Oranges are a great source of vitamin C and a potential troublemaker for teeth and drug levels. Now let's look at a fruit that seems designed to be comforting, but can be a hidden source of sugar or constipation depending on ripeness. Worst fruit number 4, bananas, ripe sugar spikes, underripe tannins, and mixed effects on digestion. Bananas are one of the most commonly eaten fruits in the world, and for good reason. They're convenient and full of potassium, but they behave very differently depending on ripeness, and those differences matter more after 60. Ripe bananas have a high glycemic index, meaning the sugar becomes available quickly and can cause a blood sugar spike. Underripe bananas contain more resistant starch and tannins, which can firm stools and contribute to constipation in people who are already prone to it. Older adults often face both lower insulin sensitivity and slower intestinal motility, so the banana's flip-flop effect can be problematic. Mechanism in plain language: sugar content and availability change as a banana ripens. A ripe banana's starches convert to simple sugars that hit the bloodstream fast. An underripe banana's resistant starch resists digestion in the small intestine and feeds different gut bacteria farther down. In some older adults, that can slow bowel movements instead of helping them. Symptoms to watch for: if you get a mid-morning or mid-afternoon energy crash after a banana, that suggests a sugar spike and fall. If you find yourself more constipated after eating underripe bananas regularly, that points to the tannin-resistant starch effect. Either pattern can be frustrating, and both are predictable with a little attention to ripeness and pairing. Medication and potassium caveat: bananas are high in potassium, which is often helpful, but for people on certain blood pressure meds or those with kidney disease, potassium levels need monitoring. Always check with your clinician before changing intake if you're on medications that affect potassium or if you have limited kidney function. Practical mitigation rules: avoid very ripe bananas as an everyday snack if you have blood sugar concerns. Instead, choose slightly firm, not too ripe fruit, or pair a ripe banana with protein or fat. A slice of turkey, a scoop of Greek yogurt, or a tablespoon of almond butter will slow sugar absorption. If you tend toward constipation, avoid underripe bananas as a regular fix. Consider alternative potassium sources when needed. Avocado is potassium-rich without the sugar spike, and steamed spinach or cooked sweet potato also deliver potassium with fiber and other nutrients. Vignette: Mr. Thompson loved smoothies with 3 overripe bananas thrown in. He complained of afternoon crashes and knew difficulty keeping his blood sugar steady. We cut bananas in smoothies to 1, added a scoop of protein powder and a tablespoon of nut butter, and his energy curve improved. He still enjoys banana occasionally, but not every day. Quick recap so far: grapes, pineapple, oranges and bananas are all fine in moderation for many people, but after 60, they can provoke blood sugar swings, reflux, tooth wear, constipation, medication interactions, or increased exposure to residues. The common thread is that aging changes metabolism and tissue resilience. It's not that you did anything wrong, your body's needs simply evolved. Before we pause for a moment of practical breathing, remember that the guidance I'm giving is based on peer-reviewed research and clinical observations from older patients. I'm not promising cures or claiming every person will respond the same way. If you take blood thinners, have complex medication regimens, kidney disease, reflux or diabetes, please consult your clinician or pharmacist before making significant changes. Don't stop medications on your own. Practical If you love rules, you can use right away. Limit grapes to about 10-12 as a snack and pair with a protein or fat. Eat pineapple as an occasional treat, not on an empty stomach, and avoid if it consistently stings your throat or worsens reflux. Replace daily orange juice with lower acid vitamin C sources and rinse your mouth after citrus. And be mindful of banana ripeness. Pair ripe bananas with protein and avoid underripe bananas if constipation is a problem. A brief example menu to illustrate the swaps. Instead of a bowl of grapes mid-morning, try a small apple with a handful of walnuts. If you crave pineapple after dinner, have a few cooked pieces over yogurt rather than a raw wedge on an empty stomach. Swap daily orange juice for a mixed berry smoothie with spinach for vitamin C and fiber. Replace one large banana in a smoothie with half an avocado and a small apple for creaminess and steady energy. I know hearing avoid can feel jarring. Many people grew up with the message that fruit is always a safe, healthy choice. It is often, but context is everything. Aging changes insulin response, the strength of the gut lining, the sensitivity of tooth enamel, and how the liver and kidneys clear drugs and chemicals. Those changes make certain fruits more trouble than they're worth if eaten every day without attention. One more real-world voice before we shift gears. A caregiver told me her father kept a bowl of oranges nearby for vitamin C, but he had new dental sensitivity and took multiple medications. When we adjusted his diet to include lower acid vitamin C options and spaced his orange consumption away from his morning meds, both his dental discomfort and some medication side effects improved. These are the kinds of incremental wins I see repeatedly. Small adjustments leading to real improvements in daily comfort and function. Transition from worry to practical hope. You don't have to throw everything away or feel guilty. The goal isn't to create fear. It's to replace a few daily habits with smarter swaps that reduce spikes, protect teeth and gut lining, and lower the chance of medication interactions. Small changes compound. A single swap this week, grapes paired with nuts instead of alone, skipping morning orange juice a few days and choosing berries, can show benefits that you and your loved ones notice. In the next section, I'll walk through 4 fruits I encourage seniors to include regularly because of their protective compounds and real-world benefits: pomegranate, blueberries, cherries, and avocados. For each one, I'll explain the mechanism in plain language, the observed benefits in older adults, and practical serving advice you can use immediately. But before we dive into those helpers, let's pause to put the risks into personal context. You may be thinking, I've eaten these fruits my whole life. Does this mean I've harmed myself? The honest answer is no, not if eaten intermittently and part of a balanced diet. Aging is about shifting risk profiles. What was harmless daily in your 40s may be better as an occasional treat in your 70s. The point is empowerment. Knowing which swaps stabilize energy and digestion and which pairings blunt the harms lets you keep enjoying fruit without paying a price. A short checklist to carry with you right now. If you or someone you care for is over 60, pay attention to these signs after fruit consumption: mid-afternoon crashes, worsening reflux, tooth sensitivity, new constipation, or strange medication side effects that coincide with a diet change. When you notice these, try a simple swap for 1 week and track how you feel. Take note, and then bring those observations to your clinician so you can personalize the plan safely. We're about to move into the eat list, the fruits that may actually help protect heart, brain, joints, and energy when included regularly. I'll explain the active compounds, like polyphenols and anthocyanins, and what they do in language that's practical, how they affect inflammation, circulation, and brain function, and how to include them in meals without adding sugar. But first, one more practical safety reminder. If you are on blood thinners, multiple medications, or have kidney disease, pause and check with your clinician or pharmacist before you dramatically increase intake of any single fruit or juice. That step keeps the small wins safe and sustainable. Keep in mind, the changes I'm describing are about habits, what you eat every day. Occasional treats are fine. The aim is to avoid regular patterns that increase inflammation, cause sugar swings, or interact with medications. Now let's begin the positive side of the ledger. The fruits I'll recommend next have properties that research and clinical experience suggest are especially beneficial for older adults. They protect blood vessels, support brain function, reduce inflammation, aid sleep, and provide healthy fats for nutrient absorption. We'll start with pomegranate and then move to blueberries, cherries, and avocados. Each one has a practical serving size and simple ways to include it at breakfast, lunch, or dinner, so you don't have to overhaul your routine. Just adjust it. Before we move on, a quick preview of what these fruits do in practical terms. Pomegranate offers compounds that help cells clear damaged parts and improve circulation. Blueberries deliver pigments that support memory and eye health. Cherries reduce inflammation and can help with sleep. And avocados provide heart-healthy fat and help your body absorb fat-soluble nutrients. I'll translate each of those mechanisms into plain food actions you can take and show substitutions so you're not left craving the forbidden fruit list. As we get into these recommendations, remember, the goal is steady improvements, better energy across the day, less reflux and tooth pain, and fewer medication surprises. Many people I work with are surprised how much better modest swaps can feel within a week or two. We'll pick up with pomegranate next, what its polyphenols do in the aging body, how to get the right serving without extra sugar, and simple ways to add it to a breakfast or a salad without fuss. Best fruit, number 1. Pomegranate. The seed that helps clean up and protect. Pomegranate isn't flashy, but it's quietly powerful for aging bodies. The reason isn't one vitamin, it's a family of polyphenols. In plain terms, polyphenols are plant compounds that act like tiny repair managers inside cells. When we eat pomegranate, some of these compounds are converted by gut bacteria into molecules called urolithins. Urolithins help cells clear out damaged parts and support healthier mitochondria, the energy factories inside our cells. For older adults, that cellular cleanup can translate into more stable energy, better circulation, and less stiffness. What this feels like in the real world, patients often report steadier energy across the morning, fewer days where legs feel heavy after a walk, and better recovery after activity. These are subjective wins, but they line up with what peer-reviewed research and repeated clinical observation suggest about the fruit's anti-inflammatory and circulation-supporting properties. Practical serving and how to include it. Aim for about half a pomegranate a day, or 4 to 8 ounces of unsweetened pomegranate juice diluted with water. Whole arils on yogurt or oatmeal are ideal because the seeds add texture and fiber that slow sugar absorption. Sprinkle pomegranate seeds on a green salad with a small handful of walnuts and a drizzle of olive oil. That combination gives you the polyphenols plus healthy fat and protein to help steady blood sugar. Safety notes: if you're on multiple medications, especially drugs processed by the liver, mention increased pomegranate intake to your clinician or pharmacist. It doesn't mean you must stop, but timing and amounts may need checking. Also, watch for added sugars in commercial pomegranate juices. Choose unsweetened options or dilute them. Quick kitchen tip. To remove arils with less mess, cut the pomegranate open and tap the back with a wooden spoon over a bowl. The seeds drop out cleanly, and you get an easy portion control method. Clinical vignette. Mrs. Alvarez is in her late 70s and had been feeling unusually tired after her daily walks. We added a modest amount of pomegranate arils to her morning yogurt, and within a week she reported feeling a little less winded and less achy afterward. We didn't change her medications. Instead, This small food change supplemented her routine and coincided with a small but noticeable improvement in daily stamina. Mini hook before the next. Pomegranate supports cellular cleanup and circulation. Now let's talk about the small berry that's big for the brain. Best fruit number 2, blueberries, the brain-friendly berry that steadies sugar. Blueberries are one of the most studied fruits for aging brains. The key players here are anthocyanins, pigments that give blueberries their deep color. In straightforward terms, anthocyanins are plant molecules that reduce inflammation and protect nerve cells. Importantly, some anthocyanins can cross the blood-brain barrier, meaning they reach brain tissue and help protect memory and learning pathways. How that shows up day to day. Seniors who include blueberries regularly often describe sharper recall for names, better focus during activities, and a smoother recovery after mental exertion. From a metabolic perspective, blueberries also have a good ratio of fiber to sugar and appear to blunt blood sugar spikes when eaten as part of a meal, which is useful for people with reduced insulin sensitivity. Serving guidance. Shoot for about 1 cup of fresh or frozen blueberries daily. Frozen berries are a practical choice. They keep well, are often less expensive, and retain much of their nutrient profile. Add a cup to oatmeal, a morning smoothie with a scoop of protein, or stir them into cottage cheese. For those monitoring sugar closely, pair blueberries with a protein source. Greek yogurt, a handful of nuts, or a boiled egg. Practical ways to use them. Make a simple blueberry compote by gently heating berries with a splash of water and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Spoon over plain Greek yogurt for a satisfying snack. For breakfast, a small bowl of steel-cut oats, topped with a cup of blueberries and a tablespoon of ground flaxseed, is a steady energy start. Safety and medication notes. Blueberries are low in interfering compounds and generally safe with medications. But if you're on a restricted potassium diet or have kidney disease, keep overall fruit intake in balance. If you're unsure, run it by your clinician. Vignette. I had a patient, Mr. Patel, who worried about his memory lapses while doing crossword puzzles. We added a cup of frozen blueberries into his breakfast routine and paired the fruit with a small portion of protein. Over several weeks, he reported feeling more confident during cognitive tasks and less fatigued when working on puzzles. Again, this wasn't a cure. It was a consistent habit that supported cognitive resilience. Mini hook before the next. Blueberries help protect the brain. Cherries help lower inflammation and, surprisingly, help you sleep. Best fruit number 3. Cherries, the evening fruit that calms inflammation and helps sleep. Cherries, especially tart cherries, bring a double benefit for older adults. They're rich in anthocyanins, like blueberries, which are anti-inflammatory. But cherries also contain small amounts of melatonin and other compounds that can help regulate sleep. For seniors who struggle with aches that disturb sleep or who wake up stiff, cherries can be a practical, food-based way to support both inflammation control and sleep quality. Mechanism in simple terms. The anthocyanins reduce inflammatory signaling that can make joints ache, and the melatonin-like compounds help promote natural sleep rhythms. Combined, those effects can lead to less pain at night and fewer restless hours. When and how to use them? I recommend cherries in the evening. Aim for 20-25 fresh cherries, or around 8 ounces of unsweetened tart cherry juice diluted with water, taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed. For people who dislike juice, a small bowl of fresh or frozen cherries with a teaspoon of chopped nuts can be a pleasant pre-bed snack. If chewing is difficult, diluted tart cherry juice is a gentle option. Medication and health cautions. Cherries can lower uric acid in many people and are often helpful for gout management. But if you have kidney disease or take medications that affect uric acid or potassium, check with your clinician. Also, if you take sleep medications or sedatives, discuss adding cherries to your evening routine, since the mild sleep-promoting effect could interact. Vignette. A woman I worked with had chronic shoulder pain that flared at night. We tried an evening serving of tart cherries for 2 weeks as part of a broader plan that included gentle stretching. She reported less nighttime discomfort and began sleeping longer stretches. It wasn't a complete fix, but it reduced pain enough for her to avoid pushing through with heavy pain meds some nights. Mini hook before the next. Cherries can calm inflammation and aid sleep. Now meet the fruit that delivers healthy fats and steady energy. Best fruit number 4. Avocado. The creamy fruit that supports heart, brain, and nutrient absorption. Avocado is structurally different from the other fruits we've discussed. It's low in sugar and high in monounsaturated fats, with a strong nutrient profile including potassium, lutein, and folate. For older adults, those fats help vascular health, support healthy cholesterol profiles, and improve absorption of fat-soluble antioxidants from other foods. How that helps in day-to-day terms. Adding half an avocado to a meal can reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes if included with carbohydrate-containing foods. It also delivers potassium without the sugar rush of fruit, like bananas. The healthy fats in avocado help you feel satisfied longer, which may prevent high-sugar snacking later in the day. Serving guidance. A half to 1 avocado per day is a reasonable range for many people. Half an avocado on whole grain toast with a poached egg makes a nutrient-dense breakfast. Blend half an avocado into a smoothie for creaminess instead of relying on multiple bananas. For salads, use sliced avocado instead of a sugary dressing to add richness without added sugars. Practical cautions. Because avocados are calorie-dense, be mindful of portions if overall calorie control is a concern. For people on potassium-altering medications or with kidney disease, check total potassium intake with your clinician. For those watching blood thinner therapy like warfarin, avocado doesn't have the same interaction concerns as leafy greens. But it's always prudent to discuss significant dietary shifts with the prescribing clinician. Vignette. Mrs. Bennett, who struggled with midday hunger that led to sweet snacks, started adding half an avocado to her lunch salad. She found she was better able to make it to dinner without cravings. Her mid-afternoon energy improved, and she reported feeling steadier during light activity through the afternoon. Transition to practical swaps and daily habits. You've now heard the avoid or limit list and the include regularly list. The most important step is to translate that into daily habits that fit your palate and routine. The strategy is simple. Reduce routine exposure to the risky fruits, introduce protective fruits, and use pairing and timing to blunt potential harms. Below are practical swaps, meal examples, pairing rules, and safety tips you can implement immediately. Everyday swap ideas and sample menu swap for snacks. Instead of a bowl of grapes on the coffee table, try a small apple sliced and paired with a tablespoon of almond butter. You get fiber, a bit of fat, and steadier sugar release. Replace a ripe banana in your smoothie with half an avocado and a small apple or a handful of frozen blueberries. You keep creaminess without the same sugar spike. Swap a daily glass of orange juice for a mixed berry smoothie with spinach and a scoop of protein powder. You'll get vitamin C with fiber and less acidity. Swap for desserts and evening treats. If you crave pineapple after dinner, opt for a few cooked pieces over plain Greek yogurt with a sprinkle of cinnamon. Heat reduces bromelain and helps blunt acidity. Instead of candy or a sugary snack before bed, have a small bowl of cherries or diluted tart cherry juice to support sleep and reduce inflammation. Sample day menu with swaps. Breakfast, steel-cut oats with a cup of blueberries, a tablespoon of ground flaxseed, and a boiled egg on the side. Mid-morning snack, half an avocado spread on whole grain toast with sliced tomato. Lunch, spinach salad with half a pomegranate, grilled salmon, olive oil dressing, and a small handful of walnuts. Afternoon snack, small apple with 10 almonds. Evening, grilled chicken, cooked pineapple over a small portion of brown rice, if pineapple is tolerated, and a small bowl of cherries after dinner or diluted tart cherry juice before bed. Pairing rules that blunt harm. Pair higher sugar fruits with protein and/or fat. Protein and fat slow gastric emptying and carbohydrate absorption, which flattens blood sugar spikes. Avoid consuming concentrated fruit sugar alone on an empty stomach, especially grapes, ripe bananas, and orange juice. For citrus, avoid drinking juice and then taking medications immediately afterward. Rinse your mouth after citrus, wait 30 minutes to brush teeth, and discuss timing with your pharmacist if you're on meds metabolized by liver enzymes. If you love pineapple, cook it occasionally to deactivate some of the bromelain, and always avoid it with an empty stomach if you're prone to reflux. Food safety and pesticide guidance. Wash fruit under running water and rub firm skins to remove surface residues. Washing reduces but does not eliminate all pesticide residues. For fruits commonly high in residues, particularly grapes, and to a lesser extent citrus peels, consider buying organic when possible, especially if you or a loved one eats them daily. Peel when appropriate. For example, peeling oranges doesn't remove the inner fruit's acidity, but it does reduce direct exposure to skin treatments or waxes. Freeze berries when fresh are not available. Frozen fruit often has similar nutritional value and can be more affordable and less likely to have recent pesticide residues due to processing standards. Store avocados and bananas at room temperature until ripe, then move to the refrigerator to slow further ripening if you aren't eating them quickly. When to involve a clinician or pharmacist? Specific check-ins. If you're on blood thinners, anticoagulants, check any significant increase in vitamin K-rich foods and discuss citrus and pomegranate intake with your clinician. Do not stop medications on your own. If you're on statins, calcium channel blockers, or other drugs metabolized by liver enzymes, mention increasing citrus or pomegranate intake. A pharmacist can advise about timing to reduce interactions. If you have kidney disease or take medications that affect potassium, review higher potassium fruits like avocado and banana with your clinician before making major changes. If you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, consider measuring postprandial blood sugar when you try new fruit swaps to see individual responses. Work with your clinician to interpret results and adjust medications only under medical supervision. If you have ongoing reflux, ulcers, or oral sensitivity, avoid pineapple and limit citrus frequency until you discuss with your clinician. How to monitor changes safely and effectively. Keep a simple food and symptom log for 2 weeks. Record the fruit, portion, what you paired it with, and how you felt 2 to 3 hours later. Note energy, reflux, teeth sensitivity, and bowel changes. Share the log with your clinician at follow-up visits. It's concrete data that helps personalize advice without changing medications impulsively. If you notice medication side effects like increased muscle aches, dizziness, or unusual bleeding after a diet change, pause the new habit and check with your clinician or pharmacist promptly. Practical time-saving tips for caregivers and family. Pre-portion fruits into small containers so serving sizes are clear. 10-12 grapes in a container, 1 cup portions of blueberries, half avocado halves wrapped for a single day. Use frozen fruit for smoothies so you don't have to shop daily. Frozen cherries, blueberries, and pomegranate arils are convenient. Prepare mixed snack packs with a fruit portion and a small protein. Grapes with a small cheese stick, apple slices with nut butter, blueberries with a handful of almonds. Label foods in shared refrigerators with dates and suggested portions to prevent overconsumption. Addressing common concerns and emotional barriers. Will I have to give up fruit entirely? No. The goal is not prohibition. It's about frequency and context. Occasional treats are fine. Daily patterns are what we aim to optimize. I grew up with fruit as a healthy habit. Am I being punished by aging? Aging simply changes how our bodies respond. That's normal. It's not a moral failing, it's biology. Small targeted swaps protect comfort and independence. I'm worried about taste. Will these swaps be bland? Not at all. Blueberry compote with cinnamon, avocado mashed with lemon and black pepper, and cooked pineapple over yogurt are flavorful and satisfying. Many people find they actually enjoy these new combinations and feel better for them. How to introduce changes gently, a 4-week plan. Week 1. Choose one fruit you eat most often and try pairing it differently. For example, if you snack on grapes, pair 10 grapes with a tablespoon of almond butter for the week and note energy changes. Week 2. Swap one risky daily fruit for a recommended one 3 times during the week. Replace morning orange juice with a mixed berry smoothie 3 days this week. Week 3. Add one of the protective fruits daily, a cup of blueberries or half an avocado, and monitor how you feel across the day. Week 4. Review your food and symptom log with a clinician or pharmacist if you're taking medications that could interact. Adjust portions based on feedback. Checklist to bring to your clinician or pharmacist. A 1-week food symptom log with notes on timing relative to medications. A list of all current medications and supplements. Notes on any kidney disease, reflux, ulcers, diabetes, or history of blood clotting problems. These questions you want answers to, such as, is pomegranate juice safe to have daily with my medications? Or, can I increase blueberries to 1 cup a day with my current regimen? Final encouragement. Small changes, meaningful results. I want to be clear. None of these adjustments require perfection. What matters is consistency and observation. Swap one snack this week. Pair a fruit with protein instead of having it alone. Try cherries in the evening and notice your sleep. These are low-risk, low-cost trials you can do at home. Many of my patients see small but tangible improvements, less midday fog, fewer reflux nights, steadier energy within 1 to 2 weeks. Those gains add up. If you're a caregiver, your role in supporting these small shifts is huge. Helping with portioning, encouraging pairing with protein, and noting patterns can give your loved one real daily relief. And if you're a senior watching this alone, you don't need to overhaul your life. Start with one swap and pay attention. A final medical reminder. This guidance is grounded in peer-reviewed research and clinical observation, but everybody is different. If you take blood thinners, have kidney disease, are on multiple medications, or have complex health issues, please consult your clinician or pharmacist before making sizable dietary changes. Do not stop or change medicines without professional guidance. Seniors, beware. The title here is a call to attention, not to panic. Some fruits deserve caution as a daily habit after 60. Others deserve a regular place on your plate. With a few intentional swaps, you can protect energy, digestion, teeth, and medication safety, and still enjoy delicious food. Try one swap this week. Notice how you feel. And if you found this helpful, share it with a senior you love, and leave a comment below. Which fruit do you eat most, and which swap will you try? Thank you for spending this time learning practical, research-informed steps to protect daily comfort and independence. I'm Dr. Emily Carter. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.